Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought today I would go through my predictions for the Australian Grand Prix. I'm so excited that it's finally a race week and we get to see the cars on track again. I do live in the UK, so I will be getting up at 4 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday to watch quali and the race, but I'm so excited nonetheless. I know it's going to be so interesting to see just where the teams fall, because obviously you can't tell much from testing, and it's interesting, like the first race is always interesting, like no matter what season it is, but you always have more of an idea than we do. But with this regulation change, like you really don't know like what team is going to come out on top. Like last year, obviously, you like they say you can't say much from testing, but we knew McLaren were going to be like the strongest team, and they were. But this year we really have no idea. It could be, we have a solid top four teams, I would say, but it really could be any of them. So these predictions are probably not going to be very accurate, but I'll react to them after the weekend and we'll just see how we did. It's just a fun video, and then hopefully my reactions will get more accurate as we go on the season and we can actually see how the teams are, how the drivers are doing, and everything like that. But we'll see. We'll see. There's always surprises throughout a season, and there's always some things that are more predictable than other things. But if we start with quali, I think that Max Verstappen is going to be on pole. Um, I just think Max is always going to start a season strong. He's probably the driver who's able to get his head around the regulation changes the quickest, adapt the quickest, find new ways to be fastest the quickest. Like within the 3 practice sessions, I think it's Max who will find the most pace and he'll be able to carry that into quali. I think the Red Bull car is definitely in the top four. Red Bull's definitely in the top four teams. Obviously, we don't know where they stack up against the other teams, but I think if they're in the equation, Max will always be in the equation. So that's why I think he'll get pole. And for P2, I'm thinking George Russell. Everyone expects Mercedes to be fast. George is an amazing driver. If he has the car, he will deliver. So I definitely think he'll be P2. And then P3, I'm not quite sure for P3. P3 is quite a toss up for me, but I'm going to say Charles Leclerc. I think Ferrari is looking like within the fastest, like the top four teams, and I think Charles will want to start the season strong. I think Charles always starts seasons stronger than he finishes them, just because I think Ferrari don't get the development mid-season quite as right as other teams do, so they fall behind a bit, and then Charles gets frustrated, which is very reasonable. But I think he always starts seasons strong, so I expect him to qualify in the top three, but we'll see. And then I said the surprise person I think will be out in Q3. I think Kimi Antonelli will go out in Q3. I don't want to jinx him at all. I do think he'll just have a rocky qualifying. That's just my crazy prediction for qualifying. It's nothing against him. I do think he'll definitely come back during the race and he'll definitely be in the points, like close to the top, close to the podium, kind of like he did last season. He didn't qualify very well, but he finished Australia in P4, if I remember correctly. So I just think it will be a repeat of that. I just don't think he'll have a good quali. That's my crazy prediction. And then I also said I don't think there'll be a safety car or a virtual safety car in quali. We only have one rookie this season. I don't think anyone will crash. It obviously depends on the weather, but if we have good weather, I think we'll be safe for quali, in my personal opinion. Okay, for the actual race, for P1, I've said that George will win the race. I've said that he'll qualify second and win the race. I think the Mercedes car will be better in racecraft and he'll be able to overtake Verstappen. Everyone expects Mercedes to be strong, so I just think that's the most reasonable prediction I could have put down here. And then P2, I've put Max Verstappen. If he drops down, he's not going to drop down by a lot, so I think he will definitely still be in those podium places if he does qualify pole like I predicted. Then P3, I put Lando Norris. I know I didn't put him qualifying in the top three, but I think McLaren have always had quite a good race car. They had a very good qualifying car last season. They had just a good car overall last season, like the fastest car overall. But I think, like, when they haven't had a good qualifying car, they've had a good race car. I just think Lando is going to be riding on a high from winning the championship title last year, and he'll just be really confident. And I would love to put Oscar because it's his home race, and I know he'll be motivated to at least be on the podium because it's his home race. But I just think Lando will probably have a better mentality at the start of this season. I think Oscar will get stronger as the season progresses, though. But obviously, you don't know. Oscar could start really strong. Yeah, he could win. You never know, but I think he'll finish up there. I just haven't predicted him on the podium for this race. And then other notes on the race, I've said I believe both Aston Martins will retire. If testing is anything to go by, I think they'll either go out for a couple of laps and then they realise they're just so far behind they might as well retire, or they'll have some kind of mechanical issue, something like that. I think both of them will retire DNF. Like, whether it's a mechanical issue or the team's choice, I just think it's going to take a couple of races for them to try to at least catch up to the back of the field. I just don't think testing was good for them at all. And I mean, maybe they've turned it around but there hasn't been a lot of time between testing and the start of the season. Like, if it was a month, 2 months, I wouldn't be predicting this, but because it's only been a couple of weeks, obviously there's a lot you can do in a couple of weeks, but at the same time, if they haven't really been able to test the car and the changes that they've made, it's not looking great for them. So I think Australia will be kind of a test weekend for them, and then we'll slowly see them get back on form throughout the season. But I just don't think it's going to be a great start to the season, which is a shame, especially for Fernando, because he had a bad start to the season last season, but hopefully they'll be back soon enough. And then I said last of the finishers because I believe both Aston Martins will DNF, so I'm taking them out of the equation. So who I think will finish P20, I've said Sergio Perez. I just think Cadillac's not going to be exactly on the pace because they're a new team. It makes sense for them to just be a bit off the pace. And I had to choose between Valtteri or Sergio, and I just chose Sergio for no particular reason. Obviously, no one knows who's really going to be the stronger teammate. I think Sergio's a very strong driver, and so is Valtteri. But like, if we're going off regency bias and seeing like Sergio's 2024 season, you would think Valtteri would perform better. But obviously, if we give Sergio a good car, he'll probably perform really well. So that's another one we'll just have to wait and see, but that's what I predict now. So leading the constructors at the end of the weekend, I reckon it will be Mercedes. Obviously, I've predicted George to win. I think Kimi will definitely be in the points. So it makes sense for them to lead the constructors because I think the four teams will be quite muddled up. Like, I don't think it will be like Lando and Oscar next to each other, or like Max and Isaac next to each other. So I think Mercedes will go away because because I predicted George to win. I think they will go away leading the championship as well, Constructors' Championship. I've said there will be a safety car during the race just because it's the first race of the season, new regulations, everyone's like trying to figure out how to use the new cars with people on track, racing people for the first time. I just think there'll be a few incidents and a few safety cars. I'm not quite. I haven't predicted how many DNFs there'll be, besides the Aston Martins, but accident DNFs. I'm hoping not a lot. I just want to see some good racing. I hope these cars can like really race, and that they'll get on top of it soon. And then obviously we all know what the like top 4 teams are looking like. I've predicted that Haas and Alpine will be the best of the rest, at least for this race. I'm predicting that Williams will come back into the fight, but later on in the season. I think right now Haas and Alpine will definitely be fighting for that P5 in the constructors after the first race. I've said Ollie Behrman specifically will be best of the rest. I reckon the 8 drivers from the top 4 teams will finish P1 to P8 and that Ollie will be P9. But you never know, like there's every opportunity for a top driver to be out of place and a driver from a more midfield team to be in front of a driver of a top team. You never know, but that's just what I predicted. And I said Ferrari will be close to the podium, but just not on the podium. I think Ferrari will be strong. Obviously, I predicted Charles qualifying P3 but not finishing P3, but I don't think that's because Ferrari will be weak. That's just what I predicted, really. I don't really have a reasoning for it, but I think they will finish close to a podium. I think it will be a good opening race for them. I just don't think they'll finish on the podium. But those are my predictions for the first race weekend of the season. I'm very excited to watch. I will react to my predictions, see how right I was or how wrong I was after the weekend, and I will update you guys with a video. I have an F1 journal, and I'm planning to probably fill that out after a couple of races so I can do a video on it, like after 2 or 3 races, filling it out, because I think that will be quite a nice video. But I'm planning to do these prediction videos before every race if I have time, and to react to my predictions after every race if I have time. Just because those are the kind of videos I love to watch and I find it really interesting. Hopefully I've got some of those right, but we'll see. And I'll try to find, like, if you guys want me to include more categories or just change the categories I'm using, please comment down below what categories you would like to see me predict for a race weekend. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you stick around. Bye.